Right, the wash has been on for about 20 minutes. It's still a tiny little bit wet in the sort of puddles just down in here, but I'm not really worried underneath various other bits. Right, to make things a little bit easier, it's always best to take things that can come off. You know, for instance, I've taken the tailplanes off, the tail, the engine exhaust, and do those separate. So, the usual thing, lick to moisten, literally, and then if you dab it on there to take any extra off, and then literally circular motions. As you can hear, it's quite scratchy because the bottom half I've put a flat coat on to dirty it up, and I don't know if you can see that already, but it's coming up. And then what you can actually do is take off as much as you want. You don't have to take it all off. If you've done it over a gloss coat, it's quite easy to get off. Because this is over a flat coat on the bottom, as you can hear, it's quite rough. Perhaps an oil wash or something like that type of wash, you'd have real trouble getting it off. This stuff comes off still just as well, but also using kitchen towel, you can vary the amount of moisture. If you're using perhaps a rag or a cloth, it has to be quite wet. The kitchen towel absorbs the water into the towel quite well, and as you can see, it leaves it on there. Also, you know, you can start dry. Physically, don't put anything on. There's a good point there on the panel, and this point here, where it actually grinds the dirt into the actual model. And that's the type of effect perhaps you're trying to get on the bottom of very dirty aircraft, perhaps a Phantom on the bottom, various of the older jets that got quite sort of messy, dirty, grimed in. And this is a good starting place for your basic weathering. So if I just carry on. Always, if you can, once you've finished off the major part, go with the direction of airflow, because any streaking perhaps you do get is a nice little weathering touch, and it saves you having to do it again. If I do over this side, we'll show you this part of the wing again. So we lick circular motions to start with. The reason I do that is because it will grind the clay itself that perhaps dry in little areas perhaps you've missed. It will push it in and saves you having to go around and touch it up. Of course you can go around and touch it up, but it will just save a little bit of time. Any stubborn areas, perhaps in here is a little stubborn area, you know, it's where my spraying's perhaps a little bit, you know, over the top, is a little bit too gritty. A little bit of extra moisten and a bit more of a push. As you see, it's made a bit of a clean spot. So what we'll do is we'll get a bit from over here and rub it round over the top, and as you can see, it'll fill it in. It's just little things that make this so easy to work with, and it is such controllable, because if you don't like it, you can take a bit off. If you do like it, say I'll take a bit extra here from the nose, I've got it on here, you can grind it back in and it will darken it up. Or there again, if you wanted to do, take it off and you can take it down to that. So you can have any of the type of dirtiness you feel and work with it, and you know, perhaps later on you think, oh, it's a little bit too much, you can take just a little bit off, you know, without actually taking too much. Or there again, instead of having to rewash it, just go back to an area where there's plenty of wash that's dried on perhaps that you're going to get in a minute, dirty up your cloth and go round and literally perhaps dirty that up a little bit more, and backwards and forwards until you get the effect you like. There's no time limit. This can go on for hours if you wanted to, until you get the right effect. Or there again, you don't like it, wipe it all off, start again. Or of course you can add to it, perhaps get a couple of drops of wash and just put them in the panels, and then you can physically drag them down. It's a thing I'll go on to later on, but it's a quick and easy way of doing it, and I hope I've showed you how versatile and easy it is to do the weathering. Right, as you can see, we've got the wash off. It's all still quite dirty and nice and grimy looking under there. I don't know how well you can pick it up. Right, what I'll do is I'll take some still photos of it as well, so you can actually see how it looks and how it works. We've got the wash. This is the standard dark grey wash. So then what we do with dirt, pick out little areas, perhaps in here, where you want it, where perhaps streaking, hydraulics, little things like that may happen. Now take your dry cotton bud and then literally you can streak like that and make nice little effects. Now I'm hoping you can actually see that. Let me try and get that up to you like that. and you get these nice little streak effects. Now you could work your way right way around the model doing that, but it's a nice little way of doing it. It's quite a sharp line it makes, which is quite nice, because all too often if you're using pastels and bits and pieces like that to do weathering, it's too soft around the edges. It doesn't look particularly perhaps like an oil streak or a hydraulic, you know, sort of leakage coming out and all the rest of it. So if I just redo this one perhaps here, and perhaps I'll just do a little one on a panel there, and if I try and get this up to the camera for you. Okay, so literally use a dry cotton bud like that, and then literally we just streak down, just make one pass, and perhaps with that one there, and you can see how easy it is to make it. Now that will dry almost instantaneously. If you don't like it, just moisten the cloth, take it off, start again, or once it's dried on, perhaps after a few minutes, add another one, and there you go. But it is a very nice, quick, easy way to do those little hydraulic streaks that you get all too often over aircraft.